Hey guys, I'm Jackie Brubaker, host of the Love You Even More podcast. I'm an author, performer, producer, and Emmy Award winner. Each week, I bring on inspiring people and experts in their field to have powerful, motivational, and enlightened conversations about relationships, self-development, and how you can love yourself even more. Follow us for daily updates at Love You Even More podcast and at Jackie Brubaker on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. For more on myself and the podcast, including ways that you can love yourself even more, go to loveyouevenmore.com. Welcome, Karen Floyd, to the Love You Even More podcast. Karen is a transformational coach, and she's going to talk to us about how to start over, how to start new after a really challenging time in our lives. I know quite a few of us have had very challenging years this year, and we want to know how to move forward in a healthy, productive way. So Karen, thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Jackie. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here. Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming. So this journey of becoming a transformational coach happened because you definitely went through some stuff. Would you like to tell us the main story that kicked off the true healing to become a transformational coach?
Okay, thanks. Where to begin? I've had a lot of transformation throughout my life.
Haven't we all?
Haven't we all? Exactly, yes. So, I'm from the UK, from Liverpool in the UK. I've had a very tumultuous childhood, so I'm no stranger to adversity and reinventing myself and starting over. I've lived in lots of different countries. I've been married and divorced and had another long-term partner since then. And my professional career has been very eclectic. I've held CEO and CMO positions for about 25 years working for global companies. I have my own company, which I founded in 2008. I've been coaching for quite a long time, specializing in executives. And then I decided to focus on helping women who need to start over because, and this is kind of where I reached my lowest point in life, because earlier this year, at the beginning of this year, I found myself in a situation where, just to give you some context, I'm an only child.
Same.
Yeah. Okay. And I don't have any children.
Oh, same.
Okay. So the past couple of years, first of all, my mum passed away, and then my father passed away, and then I came out of almost a 10-year relationship with my life and business partner.
Wow.
And whilst I was going through all of that, at one point, I just felt completely lost, alone, and stuck. And despite having spent 25 years, in addition to my career, with my spiritual and personal development and teaching lots of that, I realized that although I've reinvented myself throughout my life, it had happened unintentionally. I'd always just kind of landed on my feet and trusted that that would continue to happen. But this time, at the ripe old age of 52, with all the perimenopausal things that were going on at the same time, suddenly found myself at the lowest point I'd ever been. And it was then that I realized that I had to get really intentional and conscious about creating the next phase of my life. Mm-hmm. So I locked myself away for about 3 weeks and literally drew from all the best things that I've learned during the past 25 years. Took all the best things and literally put myself through a program. And as I did that, I thought there must be other women out there at some time who have felt or might feel as I do right now. And as I witnessed myself start to feel so much better so quickly and transform quite rapidly, I thought, okay, this is what I want to share with other people. And so here I am.
Well, this is the right place. And I'm excited to hear about how this starts because, like I mentioned in the intro, I think a lot of people have had a really hard year. I have certainly had a very, very hard year, one that I was not expecting, and it just kept going and going. And it just really, like, I will look back at this year as being one of the hardest years of my life, for so many different variety of reasons, just like you named. It wasn't just one death, it was two deaths for you, like in the partnership and all of the things. Like, it feels like, when you're going through something like this, when is it going to stop? Like, when is that going to end? When does it end?
I haven't reached that stage yet, so I don't know.
Okay.
I find, grief and, not just the grief of losing your parents, but the grief of the relationship, the business partnership, the dreams, the hopes, the wishes, the plans, etc.
Yeah.
That's a whole grieving process, and grief comes and goes in waves.
Mm-hmm.
So despite all the work, sometimes, it can still get hit with a wave. But the good thing is, when I do, I know how to deal with it without spiraling out of control into like a negative spiral. So I wouldn't say it ever stops. Maybe it does. I'll let you know.
Well, healing isn't linear. And I was just talking to my mom about this yesterday. We lost her husband, my stepdad, this year, which was extremely hard on us. And it hasn't really been that long. It's only been about 6 months. And we're both grieving. Obviously, it was her husband of 20 years. So, I just reminded her again that, like, grief is not linear, and that you can be doing well for, a week even or something. And then boom, you'll just feel horrible for no reason. Like, nothing happens. You're just so sad or so angry, or any of the stages of grief can just pop right back up. And that doesn't mean that we went backwards or that we're not totally healed or any of that. I mean, honestly, like, grief kind of feels like a forever life kind of thing. I mean, when I think about people who've passed, my God, animals, like my pets have been like my children. When I think about my pets that have passed, I mean, I know the anniversary of them, and my last one in particular was really hard on me. And I always cry, always on the anniversary. Just after all these years, you're like, and it still hurts. So, with that in mind, what can people do to help move themselves forward, especially if it's like just beginning, they're just going through something, they think, oh my God, I can't even think straight, which, by the way, you might not be able to think straight because your brain is literally swollen, it's fried, there's all kinds of things happening. You may feel crazy, but you're not yet. I'm just kidding. What can people do?
Okay, would you like me to address the grief aspect of losing somebody when they pass away, or losing a relationship in a business and that's, that person's still alive? Because like the way I approach it is different.
Let's talk about losing someone if they pass away, and then we'll talk about the other.
Okay. I find what really helps me first and foremost is to remind myself that nothing ever really dies. You can't kill energy. And so they haven't died because nothing can die. They've just transitioned into another phase of their existence, depending on, personal beliefs, etc. But I believe that it's just another phase, the afterlife. I believe in an afterlife. So I think they go to an afterlife. And if I take the case of my mum, for example, because I was with her at the end of her life, caring for her, and I was with her when she drew her last breath. And if you have the opportunity to be with somebody as they are approaching the end of the days, I think it's a really good idea to work with them and to reassure them that there's nothing to be afraid of, because so many people are fearful of death. My mum was one of them. And I sat with her and shared my beliefs, which she was quite familiar with anyway. And what I did with her was say, okay, what would you like to happen on the other side? Let's imagine that there's an afterlife. How exactly do you want it to be? I firmly believe that we can set ourselves up for a soft landing in the afterlife. And so I spent some time doing that with her. We painted a detailed picture of who she wanted to have there, the pets from the past, exactly how she wanted it to be. And I believe that gave her a lot of comfort at the end of her life. And I made it very clear to her that she could always find me in my dreams, because one of the easiest ways for the departed to reach the living is via dreams.
Absolutely.
And that did happen. She did contact me a few days after she passed away via a dream, which was very, very beautiful. So that was kind of my first stage with her. And then, because I was physically with her, I was able to place a candle in the window, which is very comforting. I believe it's a way to let spirit, let the angels know, that this is the place, this is where the person is, we're here. And once she had transitioned, I stayed with her body for a while and just sent love. And then she died during COVID, when there was a lockdown, so we were unable to hold a proper funeral. It was just a very small gathering, close family, and that was very intimate, which was nice. And what really helped me and others was to have that opportunity to say goodbye in our own way. So everybody said a few words. We stood in a circle, we held hands, which I think was quite unusual for close members of my family. I could see the mayor a little bit uncomfortable with that, but they did it. And that felt very personal, which was, I felt very blessed to be able to do that for her. And one thing that I always think is a good idea to do as well is to have a space at home, where a dedicated space, I want to call it an altar, but it could be just a bookshelf or whatever, but where I have photos of my departed loved ones and the pets as well. And I remember them every day by lighting a candle, just simply. And I firmly believe that they know that. And I know that they know that because my mum's told me in a dream. And so that brings me a lot of comfort to be able to connect with my ancestors in that way. So just something simple like lighting a candle every day and, blowing a kiss to the photograph, for example.
Got it.
And another thing that I found very comforting was journaling. I'm a firm believer in journaling. I just wrote and wrote and wrote and, poured out all the things that I would have liked to have said, but never got the chance, for example, or for whatever reason. I found that very comforting. And what else did I find very comforting?
Well, I'm actually wondering too, like what, how, I think people get in this like emotional state where they just feel, I don't know how I'm going to get out of this. I'm so sad or I'm so angry. What were things that helped you to get through some of those really dark emotional states?
First of all, not shying away from feeling them, not trying to blank out the pain and discomfort in any way, but actually taking the time to sit with it and feel it, let the tears flow, to feel absolutely rubbish for X amount of time. I think that's important, to express the emotion. To cry is very healing. And if we don't express, we repress. And there's a whole consequences that come with that. So I think it's very important to spend time with the feelings rather than avoiding them. And again, this is where journaling can come in really useful, I find. And then I use meditation a lot. So I meditated a lot. I put myself in my special place and connected my mind and my heart, sent out love. And I used my imagination to see how I would recover from the grief, to see how it would feel better with time. So I used my imagination to see myself happy, joyful, and doing things that I love, just as simple as that. But I did it very regularly throughout the day, just for a few minutes each time. I found that very, very helpful. And the dreams that I had were very comforting, because my mum did visit me in my dreams, and my dad has as well.
Oh, that's so beautiful. I think, everyone's kind of looking for something to hold on to, and what am I supposed to do with myself? And I know something my mom and I both felt immediately was this huge thing just happened to us, losing her husband, my stepdad, and the world just keeps going. And that can be really difficult when you're grieving and you're really in the thick of it. Everybody's just doing their life. Like you're going to the market still and you're seeing people shopping and you're like, but you don't understand what just happened. It can feel a little like, just disconnected from the world. But I think meditation, I love meditation too. And I love the idea of, asking them to be with you or come through your dreams. It's really powerful and it can really help you feel. I had a dream about my stepdad, and I remember saying to him in the dream, I was like, see, I knew you didn't die. You're right here. You're so here. And what I took from that was they are here, just not physically. They're just here with us all the time, just on a different vibration. But it is
Absolutely.
so healing to have those dreams. So I think having people, ask their ancestors, whoever they are, mothers, fathers, or even way past, into the line, to come help them and see them is so powerful. So
Interesting. Sorry.
no, you go.
I just wanted to say it's very interesting that you mentioned that you've had a dream with your stepdad. And if you like, I know this is
Go for it.
Yeah. So I'm a teacher of a modality called active dreaming. And I could share a technique with you now, Jackie, which is designed to get a lot more insight from dreams or any life situation. Would you like to try?
Absolutely.
Okay. So this method is called the Lightning Dreamwork process. It was created by the world's best dream shaman, an Australian guy called Robert Moss. I'm one of his certified teachers. I'm so proud.
Amazing.
And there's so many things that you can do with dreams. It's incredible, but I'll share this one quickly. So the first step is to give a title to the dream. So what's the title?
Does it have to be really specific, or can it just be like, my stepdad came to visit and hung a chandelier?
Okay, great. My
That's what he did.
Okay. And now, Jackie, I invite you to share the dream using the present tense. So I am.
Okay. I am in a new house that my stepdad came over to help hang a chandelier for me. And my mom is with us, and it's nighttime. And I just looked at him and I'm saying to him, I can't believe you're here. I knew you didn't die. You're right here. And it feels like any other day.
Okay.
That was it.
Anything else? Okay. Thank you for sharing. So how did you feel after the dream?
The very first feeling was just absolute happiness and love, and then pure sadness that it was over, just heartbreak that it was over.
Okay. So that's the first question I ask. And then the second question I ask is, what do you recognize from the dream, from other dreams or from ordinary life? So I already know that you've mentioned your stepdad and your mum, but the house was new, you said, yes?
Yes, the house was somewhere I've never been before.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Could any of this happen in the future?
Definitely.
Okay. We asked that question to assess how precognitive the dream might be. Okay. And what would you like to know about this dream, Jackie?
I'd actually like to know where the house is and when I'm going to move in it.
Okay. Okay. So now we're going to play something called If It Were My Dream. And the philosophy behind this is that nobody can interpret your dream for you. Nobody can interpret anybody else's dreams. Only the dreamer can do that because the symbology and the messages are so personal. But using this technique and playing If It Were My Dream, we can receive a lot of insight. And this is particularly powerful in a group setting, but it's just me, so let's see how it goes. And it can in fact be used for any life situation. And it's a way to be able to give insight without telling somebody what they should do.
Okay.
So, Jackie, if this were my dream, first of all, I would be eternally grateful that I've had that visit, because it shows me how much my stepdad loves me and cares for the family, and how he wants to see us well and happy, and to experience all of that newness that you mentioned. So that would be my first thing. Also, if it were my dream and it's a new house, I would remember that sometimes a house can also be representative of the physical body, the house that your soul lives in. And so I would ask myself, am I being shown a new physical house, or is it referring more to me personally? Because if it's my house and not my mother's house, for example.
Right.
And the fact that I'm hanging a chandelier and I'm receiving help from my stepdad, if it were my dream, and I'm thinking this actually might be the house might be representative of a new phase for me in my life in this body, this dream experience is kind of bringing more illumination to how I'm going to be moving forward from now. This experience, this spiritual connection.
Wow.
So I would ask myself that question, am I going to be moving forward in a different way? Also, if it were my dream and I am thinking about finding a new house, then if it were me, I would want to ask my stepfather, come to me again and tell me where the house is.
What a great idea.
I would do some dream incubation if it were my dream. So I would set myself up throughout the day. I would write it down on a piece of paper, put it under my pillow, saying, please come and visit me and tell me where this house is, or show me more about this house. What do I need to know about this house? To start with would be a good question. What do I need to know about this house?
Okay.
So, but anything else if it were my dream? No, I think I'll leave it there.
Oh my gosh. Go on. This is so cool.
The next question I ask you is, did any of that resonate with you?
Definitely. I absolutely think that not only would I like to move into a new house one day, but I do think that that's completely representative of my life right now and starting over. Everything is started over. And I like that he was hanging like I was hanging it with him. Like he was kind of doing it mostly, but I was helping. And it's almost, and that's what he would have done in real life. So he's helping me move into that new chapter, even still. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. And now another question. What action will you take as a result of this dream?
Well, definitely the pillow thing. That's a really good question. I think the action I might take is, I know this sounds so silly, but like maybe going on Zillow and looking at houses that could look like this house. I mean, I could find this house. It's definitely a house I would want to live in. So I think I could find the neighborhood that it might live in. But yeah, just to sort of visualize and make that closer, make that come closer.
Okay, wonderful. And the last question is, if you were to create a slogan for a bumper sticker that embodies the energy of this dream, what would it say?
Well, the first thing that came up was "You're never alone."
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the lightning dream work process.
Oh, that's so cool. I've never done anything like that. I love that you're taking the symbology of it and making it into something very real and tangible in this life right now, in this moment, instead of like Freud says a house means blah, 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 blah. It's like really looking at what this is, especially as a visitation, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, I loved it. Thank you. Oh, how fun. This is going to be
Yeah.
so helpful for people listening.
Yeah, I think so. It's a super useful technique. As I said, it can be applied for dreams or any life situation.
Absolutely. Well, okay, let's move into the ending of a relationship because grief is everywhere, right? Grief is whether it's a person passing or a relationship ending, it's all grief. How could we apply what we just did there to the ending of a relationship?
The lightning dream work process.
Yes, unless there's something better or different that works better.
Okay, I did use the dream work element of what I do whilst I was going through my process, but I also incorporated lots of other things. So the first step for me was a conscious releasing of the past. So what happens every time we connect with somebody, whether it's in person or virtually, an energetic, invisible energetic connection is established, yeah? And that, that energy can either be healthy or it can be toxic. So and I do this in lots of different situations on a regular basis, but at the end of the relationship, I think it's particularly important. So basically that's working with my higher self and the higher self of the other. And I work with Archangel Michael for this. So I call in Archangel Michael with his sword, and I identify any toxic energy that might be there. I also uncover what caused it, because that's a really good point for some self-reflection. And then I ask Archangel Michael literally to remove all that toxicity and replace it for both parties with love and light, so that the energy between us is cleaner and brighter and in love rather than in toxicity. So that's one thing that I like to do. And another thing that I like to do is, I'm a writer, so I like to write. So I wrote lots of letters that I burnt, just expressing myself. I didn't have much opportunity to express myself, so I turned to writing. So I wrote lots of things and then burned them. I found that very helpful. I meditated seeing myself in the future being happy. I meditated seeing the other person in the future being happy. And I did healing for both of us via meditation. And once I felt that the energy had been cleaned up, then I got intentional about what I was going to do next. And I focused on my attitude, the way that I was approaching it, because I think it's very important to check our attitude when we embark upon anything, really, because the attitude influences the outcome. So I made sure that I was doing things from a heart-centered place rather than feeling angry and bitter, first of all. That was very important. So once I'd kind of done all the conscious clearing, then I said, okay, I have a clean slate now. Now what do I create? But before I could create, I wanted to overcome any limiting beliefs that I felt were still holding me back. So I worked on transforming the limiting beliefs into empowering beliefs. Again, I work a lot with ceremony, Jackie, so I did that in a ceremonial way. And then I got very intentional about co-creating my future. So it was then that I started to work with the dreams. Well, I'm always working with my dreams, but specifically for that purpose, like, show me what I need to know for my next step.
Yeah.
That's a question that I would ask before I went to sleep to begin with. And I write all my dreams down as soon as I'm out of the dream, so I can reflect upon them. And I also worked a lot with heart-mind coherence. So that's simply, the way that I do this is by simply putting the hand in the heart space, closing the eyes, dropping into a comfortable position, and literally breathing in and out through the heart and focusing on something that fills me with love and joy. So for me, that could be a pet. It could be the last time I had a joyful experience. I fill myself up with that energy and then I release it into my energy field, into my environment, and then out into the wider world so that any other being who wants to receive that love can. And then from that space, having previously considered different options and written them down. So I could go and get a job. So I could continue with the coaching, or I could do this, or I could do that. And this is interesting because it refers back to actually one of the podcasts that you've done about the gut. It ties into that. Yeah, it ties into one of your podcasts. So what I do is when I'm in that, when I've achieved that heart-mind coherence, I then use my imagination, and it's well documented that the brain and the body can't tell the difference between what we imagine and what we actually experience. So it's all relevant, and it pays to use the imagination wisely. So then I literally use the imagination from this heart-centered space and step into each scenario, but separately and over time. So I would step into one scenario and feel it with all of the senses as much as I possibly can, in as much detail as I possibly can, but noting mostly how it feels. And then I would come out of it, I would document all of that, then I would take a break, I would ground myself, and then I would repeat and put myself into the different scenarios. And actually, Jackie, I think it becomes very, very clear very quickly. It did for me anyway, and I know that it does for lots of other people. So, very similar to what your podcast was talking about recently. And so I went through that process. I gained clarity on my different options, on what felt most aligned with my passion and my purpose. And then I started to plan and ask myself a series of questions. So first of all, the first question would be, why is this important to me? Why do I want to do this? And I'm documenting all of this. My second question is, how am I approaching this? Because like I said earlier, how we approach things is pivotal, very important. And then I ask myself, so what will success look like? And what does it feel like? And I document all of that. And then I ask myself, how will I benefit? And will anybody else benefit? Mm-hmm. And then I ask, what's my first step? And then when I'm clear on that, I ask, okay, but what action could I take that would get me the most traction in the shortest time frame? And I document that. Then I ask, what resources do I need? What resources do I already have? And how can I obtain the resources that I need, and who can help me? And so armed with those questions, then you start to have more of the bones of a plan. And then according to those answers, I then decide, okay, what can I do first that's going to get me the most traction? Maybe it's picking up the phone and speaking to a particular person that I've identified who can help me. Mm-hmm. Simple as that. And then I continue with everything that I've just described. And so it goes on.
Nice. I love that. It feels like taking really strong inventory of yourself and your feelings and your emotions and figuring out a game plan to move forward. And, moving forward again, just like grief of a passing of a loved one isn't linear. And some days are great and some days are not so great. And there's no rhyme or reason. But I think creating a plan and checking in with yourself through the meditation and also dreaming. I mean, I just love that you're so skilled in dreams and working with dreams, because I think they're super powerful. And some people don't dream, but a lot of people do. And I'm a dreamer as well. I've always had really intense dreams. And I just think that our brains are just, trying to talk to us and tell us so much that maybe our human selves can't, figure out in the moment, but like subconsciously they're like, hey.
Yeah. The ancients said that dreams are messages from the soul, messages from God. It's your higher self trying to get through to you. And just while I mention this, a lot of people talk about unpleasant dreams or nightmares, but in the dreaming community that I belong to, we tend to view those as opportunities rather than problematic. And what I found working with people to overcome some kind of serious nightmare issues that they've had is that oftentimes it's an element of the individual's inner power trying to connect with them, but they're running away from it. And it's trying to catch up with them in the dreams. That's not unusual. So if anybody out there listening has nightmares, don't be afraid. They can be easily resolved.
Right. No, a lot of people do have nightmares, and, once in a blue moon, I'll get them as well. And they're not fun. I had a reoccurring stress nightmare from like childhood on, and I don't get it very often. But yeah, you're being chased by someone, and what happens after that. I have a question. This may sound silly, but I know someone's thinking it who's listening right now. What does it mean when you dream about your ex?
I would say that depends on the dream.
Okay. Elaborate.
Okay. It could be, so I've had a dream about my ex recently, and for me, it was, okay, it can be just that you miss them, for example. It could be that there's some energy that needs to be cleared up still, kind of like unfinished business. It could be that you've been thinking about them a lot, or they've been thinking about you a lot. It could also be actually not them. Oftentimes, when there's another person in the dream, if it's not like a visitation as your dream was with your stepfather, it can be somebody showing up who you recognize, but actually what's being shown to you are the qualities that you have that exist in them. So I always like to ask myself, okay, what qualities are, whether the qualities I like or dislike,
Yeah.
what qualities are showing up that in this individual in this dream? And actually, is it me being reflected back at me in a way I can understand, or is it really the other?
Wow. Oh, that's so interesting. I've never thought of it that way. So I do have a reoccurring dream about an ex from a little while ago, actually. And it's super weird because it's like clockwork. Like I'll either dream about him once a month, or lately, I swear to God, I'm dreaming about him like every other week or something. And I have not talked to this person in like a couple of years. And I don't think about him very often at all, but he will pop into my dreams, and they've kind of changed, but basically most of the dreams are he's trying to apologize, but he's super afraid to. And I'm like, the last one I had, we were standing on a sidewalk, and he started to like talk to me and apologize. And then he like walked all the way down the sidewalk. And I was like, I can't hear you when you're that far. And so he came back up and he's like, oh, sorry. But it just, to me, like what I got from it was he feels really bad about how things ended and how he really just fell off the face of the earth. And then now it's like he keeps trying to tell me via like our higher selves or our souls, like, I'm sorry, but he's so ashamed. I keep getting so much shame whenever I'm with him. I'm like, dude, it's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. Um, so in those instances, I don't think that's me reflected, but maybe I think that's something really important to investigate because that's such a new perspective.
Mm-hmm. So you said that this person dropped off the face of the earth. So I'm thinking that, that in the past you didn't get that apology.
No, I got nada. And it's
Nada.
awful because we were friends for like 10 plus years, like probably like closer to 15. And then we'd always had a crush on each other. And then we were finally going to start trying to date each other. But then he just fell off the face of the earth and was already like dating someone else. And I think he was just too afraid to say, like, hey, I met someone else. Sorry about the last 15 years of saying we'd always like have a relationship. But like, I would have just been like, okay, you just got out of a divorce. I don't want to date you now either. So like, but anyway, you were going to say.
So it might well be the fact that he does have those regrets in real life and he's often thinking about you.
He'd better.
I'm sure he is.
I'm sure he is.
I'm sure. I'm positive. So yeah, it could be that he's having those regrets, feeling remorseful, thinking you're on his mind a lot. And, that could be one reason why it's showing up like this for sure. It could also be maybe it's because it's your secret desire to have that apology from him as well. That could also fuel it.
Definitely. That makes a whole lot of sense. So that's the work at least I can do on my own, which is, I guess, forgiving him, but maybe from a different place, like a different angle, like diving deeper into like, why do I need that apology so badly? What unresolved stuff do I have that makes this dream continue to show up?
Yeah. I think I would suggest that via a meditation, you meet a higher self to higher self and you have a dialogue with them in that meditation.
Oh, I love that too.
And see what comes from it. You could also call in Archangel Michael, see if there's any toxicity there, and have that removed if so.
I love the Archangel Michael. Just, bring in your big sword and just cut all those cords, man. Just cut the cords.
Yeah. And replace with love and light.
Yes. Oh, this is so fascinating. What is the most important thing about an ending in someone's life that they can remember when they start to heal? Like something that they can grow from, or just what was the most important thing that you took away from that?
From the relationship?
Just from any transition, any big transition.
For me, the biggest takeaway is that for any transition and transformation to be successful and long lasting, you have to do the inner work. So if I'd have just got a piece of paper and a pen and thought, right, okay, I could do A, I could do B, I could do C. Oh, I think I'll do A, and just, wandered off unconsciously and unintentionally, then I wouldn't be feeling as good as I do now and getting the results that I get. So for me, the inner work, you need to do the inner work to change the outside world or your outside world.
Absolutely. I mean, people talk about, doing the work all the time, but a lot of people don't really go as deep as they need to really start healing. And that's why things repeat in their lives. And we've all been there, no one's immune to that. We think we're healed. We think, oh, I just won't think about it. I just won't do that again. But you know what? Comes back around that lesson because you didn't get it.
Because we're running on subconscious patterns. And so unless we work to start to reprogram that subconscious, then we'll just keep on running on old patterns. So this is where, the meditation comes in really useful, affirmations, mantras, movement, creativity, just expressing yourself more. All of that together works wonders.
It really does. Well, I have loved talking to you. I think this was such an interesting conversation. You are so fascinating, and I learned so much today. I love that. Please tell people how they can find you, and all of her links will be in the show notes. So it's okay, guys. But if you're in your car right now and you just want to get like an Instagram handle, tell people how they can find you.
Okay, so the best way to find me is via my website, which is simply coachkarenfloyd.com.
Perfect.
And if people do go there, they can download a free ebook, which is called How to Win at Life.
Perfect. We should all learn how to win at life. Well, thank you so much, Karen. This was lovely.
Yeah, great to meet you. And congratulations once again with your brilliant podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast. Remember, sharing is caring. Make sure to rate the podcast and leave a review. We really rely on this to help get the podcast out there.